All right, 5:33 as we do every Wednesday. We welcome in our good friend Ryan Rothstein. Give him a follow on Twitter at WiseRise Sports Radio, WIP on-air host, and, of course, host of the Philadelphia City Cast presented by Bet Rivers. And, of course, does a lot of stuff for VSiN as well. So good follow on Twitter at WiseRise. Joins us on a Wednesday edition of BYP. What's up, bud?
How we doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing well, bro. Doing well, as always.
That's good. How about that hit I was just talking about? $10, payout $32.60 on the Canadians getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Braves winning the World Series.
Hey, yeah, so what was it? You said a $30 ticket that paid out 3 Gs?
No, it was a $10 ticket that paid out $32.60.
Wow. Yeah, good for him, man.
That's fantastic.
You know, a futures parlay is that is very tough to pull off, as we all know. But for $10-20,
yeah.
Why not, man?
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah, I was like, here's my cell. Text me any inside stuff that you have.
Yeah.
So we got Week 9. It'll kick off tomorrow night. Indianapolis and the Jets. Colts right now laying 10.5. Everyone's seeing if Mike White kind of duplicate. We'll go through the games, but this is something you and I talked about. There's going to be a weekend where a game gets thrown up, a twist in the wind because a notable player comes down with COVID. And in this case, it's Aaron Rodgers. I thought he moved the line at least 3.5 to 4, and now all of a sudden, boom, 7.5. I don't know if you caught the conversation I had in the 4 o'clock hour with Corey Parsons, but I actually grabbed Kansas City early when that line was at even, and now all of a sudden we look and it's 7.5. So with the Rodgers news, would you play that Chiefs-Packers game this weekend? He's waiting with great anticipation. This is what we're trying to figure out. See if Ryan's still there. We'll put him on hold, and then we'll see if we can punch him up. All right, we'll try it again. You there?
Yeah, I got you, but you went out for like a good 5 seconds. I wasn't sure what happened. I'm sorry.
I thought you were pontificating. I said, would you play the Chiefs? Would you play the Chiefs and the Packers at all this weekend? Would you play that game?
No, absolutely not.
All right.
No, would you? I mean,
so I think I caught the Chiefs. I took the Chiefs even. I grabbed the ticket prior to the Aaron Rodgers news.
I don't trust the Chiefs, man. I just don't know what they are at the end of the day. I kind of do know what they are. I mean, they've been a bad football team. Mahomes has been bad. And that whole team has been up and down, I think, if you want to put it nicely. I don't think that's what they're going to continue to be, at least on the Kansas City side, right? But it's just there's always that thought in the back of your mind, like I compared them a while back when things were going well to the Golden State Warriors. They can just come out in the third quarter and just put that barrage on you. We haven't really seen that yet this year, but I think we all know they're capable of it at any time.
Yeah, listen, I'm telling you, if Rodgers is playing a little different animal, but I'll sit, and I'm okay with the ticket that I'm holding. You know, I looked, even the Cardinals and the 49ers, that line was 1.5. Now it's down to 1. When it was a 1.5, I was more inclined to think that Murray is playing, and now you see where the money's going. But I still like Arizona in that spot at 425 against the 49ers. What's your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I'm all over Arizona right now. And San Francisco last week was a little bit surprising. Not that Chicago is anything, but I like Chicago getting 4 as the play last week. But nonetheless, Arizona right now is just I like them to come represent the Super Bowl. Be one of the 2 in the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm all for the Arizona pick.
Any concerns with Murray? Some injuries here and there, a little nicked up here and there. Smaller quarterback. No concerns at all.
No, I mean, of course there's concerns, right? I mean, it's football. I mean, we're going to have concerns with anyone and everyone, especially a quarterback that's not the traditional 6'6", 280. I mean,
that's true.
But the guy's fast, the guy's smart, and he's certainly elite. So, I mean, injuries are a part of the game. I certainly wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not gonna hold that against him and the team.
One of the other games that I highlighted, Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cincinnati coming off that horrible loss to the Jets. The Browns are a banged-up team. I loved the Steelers in that spot last week. Took them on a money line outright. I also did the same play with the Titans and San Francisco, so not bad. I know I mentioned that to you over the weekend. But how about the Browns in Cincinnati? Cincinnati's laying 2.5 right now. Total number is 46.5. Do you see them rebounding in a big way, or what you saw against the Jets is alarming to you?
Well, both of those things don't have to sort of coexist together. Like, that is certainly alarming, what we saw against the Jets. That's just the bottom line. I mean, that's not good, right? That's something that shouldn't happen, that can't happen, and that you should be embarrassed about, especially if you're the head coach of that Cincinnati football team. That's flat out embarrassing. And as far as the Browns are concerned, they can just win ugly, man. Like, I would have more faith in them. I think I'm not playing this game just because I think it's a garbage game, and I would probably lean towards the Browns getting the 2.5 because I do trust their run game and how they play a little bit more than I do with Cincy at the moment.
A lot of the games, kind of like the last several weeks that we talked about, some of these lines are really, really high. I mean, you look at Dallas is 10. You look at the Colts, that's 10.5. Buffalo is 14.5. And then all of a sudden you get those lines that if you're a guy that likes to tease some of these games, they're sitting right at 6, 6.5. Are there 2 or 3 games that you've looked at today that stand out right away to you that you're like, you know what, I'm comfortable playing these games today?
I like the Patriots. I don't love them with the hook, but if you can get the Patriots -3, which you could have done spots at one point earlier in the week, then you like the Patriots on the road as a favorite to take care of business against Carolina. And I also really like Denver +9. Dallas obviously gets the win without Dak Prescott in a big spot against the Minnesota Vikings, who many deem a pretty good football team, Minnesota that is. But this is a spot where I just think the public maybe is overlooking Denver a little bit, and then they're holding a little bit of weight, too much weight on the Dallas win against the Minnesota Vikings. So I'll take the 9 points that you're giving me with the Denver Broncos, because I would think that everyone and their mother, from the public betting perspective, is taking Dallas there. So I'll gladly join the book side with Denver. Those are really the 2 that stand out for me right now. I would maybe look to Minnesota +6 against Baltimore. But yeah, I would say those 2, the Patriots and Denver.
Yeah, 2 things. Minnesota, Baltimore, I think I'm going to shoot for the over in that one. And then you mentioned the Pats and the Panthers, and Darnold listed as limited participant in practice, and due to that concussion, that might be a good thing for Carolina to throw a different quarterback out there. But at the end of the day, Belichick is still Belichick. He knows how to game plan. So I kind of like your thought process against New England. How about the Chargers, right? That West Coast against the Eagles. Eagles coming off a big win against a bad team because they needed a win. And for the record, I had Detroit. But then, they haven't won at home. And then you got the Chargers, who I look at them and I'm like, all right, man, impressive win against the Browns. And then you come back and you go on the road, you get waxed by Baltimore. And then you lose a game that was right there for the taking against the Pats. So instead of being 5-2 right there with Vegas, now you're 4-3 looking up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not betting this game, this Eagles-Chargers game. I also had the Lions for Eagles-Lions. So that was surprising, but a 44-6 win, there's something to that, okay? I don't care who it is, right? But not because it's the Philadelphia Eagles. You win an NFL game 44-6, that's something, right? Like, so you can't say, well, Detroit, the defeated Lions, doesn't matter.
You're right.
No, it doesn't. It does matter, because I would be sitting here ripping the Eagles if they lost, which is what I predicted to happen. So let's give them some credit here, people. I mean, it's tough, and it's more fun to bash them. But that's something. That's something. What we saw in Detroit is something. Now, how does that carry over back at home? I don't know. We'll see. But I also think there's something going on with the Chargers. I don't know what it is, right? But it doesn't seem like that. Oh, here comes Herbert and this dangerous Chargers offense. Like, it doesn't have that feel. They don't have that feel to them right now, Q.
This is something that I always preach. You don't need to play every game on the board. You don't need to play. You're playing the number, right? 99.9. You're playing the number, not the team per se. But I'll tell you a prop that I do like. A prop this weekend, and I took a flyer on this when the Eagles played Detroit, was an anytime touchdown for Jordan Howard. And that was a nice hit. I'm thinking the same thing with the Titans and the Rams. Adrian Peterson, they signed him. He'll be in the active roster. You know he's going to suit up, right? You just know it. And I can see maybe a situation where it's a goal line situation, or even they have him sneak out of the backfield for a receiving touchdown. That's something that I'm going to play this weekend. I don't like that game at all. I just don't. I know the Titans, they're such a resilient team where I can see them covering this game against the Rams. I think people are looking at that move that the Rams just made for Von Miller. I don't know how much it influences this Sunday's line or going forward, but it's 7.5. That's my look, but don't touch. But I would take a flyer on a prop for Adrian Peterson to score.
I love that. And I talked about picking Adrian Peterson up in your fantasy, whether it's daily fantasy or your traditional fantasy football leagues. I anything and everything AP right now. I'm in support of, right? Like that has to be a good thought process. And you mentioned the Von Miller stuff. Dude, like, do you feel like they got swindled as well, or is that just me? Like, I don't even get that whole trade.
Do I feel who got swindled?
Denver. I mean, they're paying $9 million of the $9.7 on his salary. They're only getting like a third-round draft pick and a second. I mean, I'm like, what?
Well, I feel
like I know he would have walked otherwise, but my goodness.
So I think you have to keep it in perspective, right? We know he's a Hall of Fame player. So I guess you'd have to ask yourself, has he been a Hall of Fame player for the last several years? Has he been that dominant force that we've seen in the past? And if your answer is no, so okay. Situational guy. Now, I'll talk about another prop. If you can get a sack or one or more sacks, third down, sure, I can see that. But I don't know. I'd have to really kind of rethink it, to be quite honest with you. The Rams are basically telling you now they gave a 22 second round pick, and I also think they gave a 2022 third round pick to Denver.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what.
Yeah, they gave a second and a third. I mean, I say it a little bit tongue in cheek. That's all. But it's just them paying the salary this year too is pretty eye opening. But I do. He's not the same Von Miller that we all expect. If people hear Von Miller and they're like, uh-oh, but it's not him. I mean, that's 9-10 years ago Von Miller is who you're thinking of.
Yeah, but they're also telling you that draft picks be damned, right? We're going forward this year. I mean, that's exactly what they're saying. And in a jumbled NFC, you think about the timing of this Rodgers COVID, and he's not playing. These guys are playing for home field advantage, man, in the conference. I mean, you break it down even further. Right now in conference play, now they catch a break because it's against Kansas City, but you got Green Bay, Arizona, the Rams, all 7-1. You got Dallas lost to Tampa Bay earlier in the season. They should have beat them. They're 6-1, 6-2 respectively. And then you got the Dallas Cowboys, who got that big win. That was a huge win for the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. Well, I got news for you. They play Denver, the Falcons, a so-so Chiefs team, the Raiders, the Saints, Washington, the Giants, Washington, the Cardinals, and the Eagles. I'm telling you right now, I think the Dallas Cowboys are poised to go on this run. And I can see them winning 6, 7, 8 in a row.
Sure. I mean, especially after this win Sunday.
Yep.
I said, it's like this sort of feels like Dallas, it's just like their type of year. When you get a win like that, you can't help but say that. And, you mentioned the home field. and one example, the Rams going to Lambeau Field for the NFC Championship game, they're not winning.
Yeah.
But if it's out in L.A., then it's let's play ball, boys. It's an even level, an even playing field. But like Lambeau Field or not, that's the difference in teams going to the Super Bowl or going home.
Yeah. Anything on the NBA real quick? Any plays before I let you get out of here?
No plays as far as tonight. I honestly have been busy doing some stuff for NFL and do some. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at the Sixers so far, but I have no plays for tonight specifically.
All right, when are you going to be back on the air in Philly?
I'm going to be on Friday night overnight, Saturday overnight, and then I believe Sunday. I'm still waiting for confirmation after the game's on Sunday afternoon. But just give me a follow at WiseRye on Twitter for all of that updates. And Philadelphia CityCast, subscribe, rate, review.
All right. Take some vitamins, too, because you look how I felt when I saw you the other day.
That's no sleep. I don't think there's any avoiding that look, man. It's brutal.
And you can't make up for lost sleep anyway. All right, pal. Always appreciate you.
Thanks, brother.
All right. You got it. Be well. There you have it, our guy. Ryan Rothstein, Sports Radio WIP on-air host. Host Philly CityCast presented by Bet Rivers. V's on live as well at WiseRye. Quick timeout.
Are you in need of a good cleaning? Have you been ignoring or just don't have the time to do it yourself? If you want it done right the first time, Pristine Cleaning in Ventnor Heights should be your first call. They clean it all. Commercial, residential, carpets, power washing, and window cleaning. Pristine Cleaning is fully bonded and insured. And if you're a snowbird, they provide a house watch service to ensure your property is safe and well maintained. Don't worry about the rental property with Pristine Cleaning. They have you covered all year long. Having work done? Call Pristine Cleaning, 609-531-5717 for the post-construction cleanup. Remember the Pristine Promise. If it's not done to your satisfaction, they'll do it until you're happy. To get the service and attention your properties deserve, call the pros at 609-531-5717 and get a free quote. Leave the dirty work to Pristine Cleaning and let them work their magic.
Dr. Charles McCabe is on a mission to eliminate back pain while helping each individual achieve optimum wellness right here in the Delaware Valley.
I was in such pain that I couldn't even walk. I would go to sleep and I would literally pull my hair from the pain. Since the day we came in here, I felt like I was in a place where they really care for people. It's not just a number.
Do you have a bulging disc or herniated disc causing you back pain? Have you been told you need surgery? It doesn't have to be that way. Many of Dr. McCabe's patients with these same disc problems have found relief with his treatment. Do this. Go to cherryhilldisccenter.com and find out your options. Stop suffering from back pain now. cherryhilldisccenter.com.
When I came here, we started, my pain level was 10, of course. As weeks went by, my pain level dropped. As of today, my pain level is 0. As they take care of you, they make sure this is good for you.
Stop suffering from back pain due to disc problems. Go to cherryhilldisccenter.com. cherryhilldisccenter.com. Fritz & B & Cooley Law Firm handles all types of personal injury cases, and managing partner Brian Fritz tells your story to a jury to secure your future.
What we feel makes our firm different from others is the fact that we take our lifelong personal approach and experience and apply that in dealing with any client. We don't view a client as a number or another case. We view them as a human being and a person who faces challenges that they never anticipated, or they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't seek us out for help.
Remember, a personal injury case can change every aspect of your life forever. Don't walk alone. Fritz & B & Cooley get the results you deserve. Call Brian at 215-458-2222. 215-458-2222.
Many of our clients have become lifelong personal friends.
Call Brian Fritz of Fritz & B & Cooley, 215-458-2222 for a free consultation. 215-458-2222.
Listen online all day long to AM 1490 Sports Betting Radio at 1490sportsbettingradio.com. Now, back to Q.
Yes, the return of Count Blake Bortles signing with the Pack. Apparently he was golfing. We were just looking up his stats. So he had that big monster year, 35 touchdown tosses. But when they went to the AFC Championship, that was 2017. They were loaded, man. They had some offensive playmakers and a very, very good defense. They ultimately lost to New England 24-20. So this is what happens, right? These quarterbacks kind of get, I don't want to say regurgitated, but they kind of do. So a couple of you guys are asking me on Twitter the Ruggs situation, and I'll pull it up. And Amy Dash does a really great job because she's a lawyer. She's a great follow on Twitter. So this is not news, right, that the Raiders released Henry Ruggs. What's news is that he was traveling 156 miles per hour. And when his car crashed, it was at 127, left a 23-year-old woman and her dog dead. His blood alcohol level is more than twice the legal limit. And his first court appearance today, he was in a wheelchair. Bail was set at $150,000. Not good, folks. I mean, just think about this. In the NFL this week, Derrick Henry injured. Jameis Winston injured. Von Miller trade. AP back. Aaron Rodgers, COVID-19. Deshaun Jackson released. Melvin Ingram traded. And then you got Henry Ruggs charged of a DUI resulting in death. Crazy week for the NFL. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a loss of life. So you cannot joke with that kind of stuff. You just can't. I was reading that one of the cops on the scene basically said, I've never, 30 years on the force, never saw a car hit those speeds. Just not good. Oh, and by the way, a loaded gun was found in the car. It's just not a good look, folks. I mean, crazy. So this shows you how everything can change. In 24 hours, right? You got a young player, high draft pick, can play, talent. You're getting ready to practice for the Giants, right? And then boom. You know, I'm thinking I'm going to continue my NFL dream. Here you go. Instead, you got somebody's dead. He's in jail. He's out of the NFL. And he's going to face prison time. Oh, you bet me, yeah. Rest assured. And it all could be avoided. That's the problem. It can be avoided. The NFL gives you these cards. You make millions of dollars. You don't need to show off to some girl or your buddies driving a vet like a lunatic, like a jackass, because that's all that was. Instead, you call for a ride, Uber, you don't get in the car. And now you got lives that are ruined. And for what? Because of your ego? Horrible judgment. Horrible, horrible, horrible judgment. It's never worth it, man. It's never worth it. Ever. So Thursday night football, as I mentioned, you got the Jets and the Colts. We'll get into that game tomorrow. We'll dive into the Eagles and the Chargers, the Giants and the Raiders, the Cowboys. And I think the Cowboys are poised for a run. And if you want to jump on them, jump on them. Just be careful with some of these lines, these double digits, as Ryan was mentioning. Remember, you're betting the number. You're not betting the team. NBA tonight, we already gave you the plays. We like Cleveland. We like the Knicks. Now that line has dropped to 1. We caught it at 1.5. I love the Magic getting 7 against the Celtics. I'm going with the Bulls tonight on the road. 2.5 against Philadelphia 76ers. Not touching the Nets. Not touching the Clippers and the Timberwolves. Depending upon how well I do, if I think I'm going to hit, I'll turn around and most likely I will play the Warriors laying 6 against the Hornets. All right, got to start wrapping up on a Wednesday edition of BYP. Excellent stuff from Corey Parsons. We always appreciate him jumping on board. Give him a follow on Twitter as well, at the Fantasy Exec. Ryan Rothstein in the 5 o'clock hour with some really good insight on some of his plays this weekend and a little recap of last weekend. My guy Tyler on the other side of the glass, the cooking machine. So tomorrow, busy Thursday. Steve Gardner, USA Today on baseball. Jonathan Marshall on the NBA. Nick Costco with his college football picks. We're going to see if we can grab Lyle Fitzsimmons, who's out west, or Johnny Wilds out in Vegas. You got all these odds. We got to break down Khalid Plant, Canelo Alvarez. It's going to be a hell of a fight. I want to dive into it from a betting perspective. So we'll have Johnny Wilds and or Lyle on. And then we'll close the show at 5:45 with Q's picks. We are riding a nice little hot streak, 5-0 a couple weeks ago, 3-2, then back to 3-2. So we got a nice little run going in the NFL with our picks. Everyone have a good Sports Wednesday. As always, you can keep the comments coming at me at Rich Q&Q at 1490 SportsBet. Don't forget to follow along on social media as well as Facebook and IG. Have a good Sports Wednesday. Enjoy the NBA today and tonight. We will talk to you tomorrow, as always, from 4 to 6 right here on AM 1490 Sports Betting Radio. As always, be safe, be sound. Hasta luego, buen día.
You're hearing AM 1490 Sports Betting Radio. Listen online at 1490sportsbettingradio.com.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. This is Rush Hour with Danny Burke on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Rush Hour presented by Bet Rivers here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday evening. As always, we are broadcasting live out of the Bet Rivers Sportsbook just outside of Chicago in Des Plaines, Illinois. And tonight for you, we'll be talking college football with Amal Shaw in about 30 minutes, co-host of Odds On right here on VSiN, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Fridays. Amal, if you don't know, diehard college football fan and very strong handicapper when it comes to college football. So we'll get his thoughts on some of the top games for this Saturday. Before Amal, so in about 15 minutes, how about host of the Philadelphia City Cast, Ryan Rothstein? He's got an Eagles matchup to look forward to this week that we're excited to discuss with him against the Chargers. And in that game, we've seen significant line movement in favor of Philly. So we'll ask